Hello everyone, welcome back. We are going to start part 2 of the chapter in the Kingdom of Fools. We left the part 1 when we had come to page number 23. So we are going to start from the first paragraph of page number 23. So the story so far has been, I'm sure all of you have already read the entire chapter because let's say it's interesting and it's funny, right? So we have seen that the king is trying to find the culprit due to whose fault the wall has fallen down upon the head of the thief, and as a result the thief has died. So the last person who was summoned before the king was the goldsmith, and the goldsmith said that the goldsmith has said he has blamed upon the merchant who was forcing him to build a necklace, right? And because of which he could not make the necklace of the dancing girl, the woman who is old now, on time, and so on and so forth. So lots of characters. Now we stopped last time here at this exact point, but the next part is the turning point of the story. Okay, you see the story will come, the story started from point A, and now we'll see that the story will come full circle to the first character that the king had brought. So let's start the first paragraph of page 23. This is also very funny. The goldsmith, whom does he name? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. Now justice had come full circle. So please underline this line. Now justice had come full circle. That is what I was explaining by circle. Thought the king, back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, "It wasn't me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent." So this is a complete circle. The merchant whose wall had fallen upon the thief is ultimately proven to be the culprit. But the merchant is already dead, and initially his son had been called to court to answer for his father's crimes. And now again the same thing is happening. This son of this merchant, who is guilty according to the king, is now he's in trouble now again. He had saved himself, right? And now he's again into trouble. So he says to the king that my father is dead and I am innocent. I was a small child when the wall was being built. So but the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively, "It's true, your father is the true murderer. He is dead. But somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die." So the king, the foolish king, is saying something which is we hear from our family members, right? तुमको देख के ही लगता था कि तुम ठीक नहीं हो, right? We hear this kind of statements every day. Sorry that I have used Hindi, but that is the actual meaning. So the king said now that he has to put weight behind his decision of proving the son of the merchant guilty, says this dialogue that I knew when I saw you, when I saw your face, I knew that you are the one who is guilty. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. Now impaling, the word impaling, please underline the word impaling in the fourth line of the paragraph that I have just read. Impaling means and a stake. Stake means this is a stake, okay, where a person will be murdered and he will be put on the stake, okay, impaled. He will be put on the stake, right? This is called impaling. So or he'll be sometimes tied, hands tied behind the back, and he'll be hung on this, or sometimes like this also. So this is what was supposed to happen to the criminal. And what happened is, this merchant's son, he was too thin, because a stake, to be able to carry the weight of a human body, it's very thick. So if the body is thinner than the stake, then it becomes difficult. So now there is a new problem. What shall we do? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a fat man fat enough to fit the stake. So now again, in the kingdom of fools, foolish things keep on happening repeatedly. So what they thought was the best thing to do was, okay, he's a thin man, and the stake is, I mean, thick and big. So we need to find a proper man who is going to fit this stake, right? So again, means what is the ultimate point? The ultimate point is we have to impale someone on the stake, right? It doesn't matter who is guilty, whether he is dead, doesn't matter. This is just, we are just following the process, and whatever fits in the process we are going to put it. It doesn't matter if it's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do, and that is utter foolishness. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake, and their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. So now we come back full circle to the beginning of the folk tale, where we saw the guru and his disciple. The disciple had decided to stay back because the food was cheap, and now look, his greed, where does it get him? What have I done wrong? I am innocent, I am a sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise guru's words, the disciple, "This is a city of fools, you don't know what they will do next." While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. Now, this is a folk tale, so magic is acceptable here. He could see far, and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple, who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, "Oh, wisest of kings, who is greater?" So what we call is, when you take toast, you put butter on the toast. So this is what the guru is doing to the king, because he realizes the guru is wise and he realizes that the king is foolish. So let me butter him up, because the aim of the guru, why has the disciple called the guru? To save him, right? And the guru knows that he has to save his disciple. So how do you deal with a foolish person? The guru decides from his wisdom that, okay, let me start by appeasing his ego. Okay, let me butter him up, let me soften him up. And he says, calls the king what? Wisest of kings, right? Which is exactly, the king is opposite of that, isn't it? Who is greater? Everybody else is greater than this king. The guru or the disciple? Okay, so his question is, who is greater, the guru or the disciple? Of course the guru, no doubt about it. The king says, why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. This is what the guru is saying. Put my disciple to death after me. So the guru says, you want to put the disciple on the stake? No, wait, put me first. I want to be the first one. So this definitely will create questions in the minds of people, right? So let's see what happens next. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor. Me first. Please underline the word clamor. Clamor means when the child makes repeated requests, okay, almost to the brink of crying, when they want something. Me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him. So now we see a new scene unfolding in front of us, that the guru and the disciple are about to fight about who wants to die first, who wants to get impaled on the stake first. The guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who would go first. The king was puzzled by this behavior. He asked the guru, why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. So the logic of the king, again, it's hilarious. You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied the guru. Now the guru is trying to be mysterious and tells the king, no, don't ask us these things. I just know that I want to die first. Why? There's some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. Now the king, he might be foolish, but his curiosity, even foolish people have curiosity, right? And a good mystery is always pulls them in, okay, curious, raises their curiosity level. So the king now is shocked by looking at these two people, and he wants to know exactly why both of them want to die first, because a few moments back the disciple didn't want to die at all. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Now the guru is asking a promise from the king. Asks the guru. The king gave him his solemn word. So please underline this, or just remember that the king has given his word. Now word has immense value in this tale, because there is no court or government agreement here. Word has the same value as a court order or court agreement. The guru took him aside out of the servant's earshot and whispered to him, Do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. Underline this. Whose stake is it? The Guru has made up this. It belongs to the God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of this country. We are sick of our ascetic life. Please underline the word ascetic. We are sick of our ascetic life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember? The king was now thrown into deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time. He ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let's go on the stake ourselves, and we will be reborn as king and minister again. Holy men do not tell lies. Underline this line as well. Holy men do not tell lies. Now this is what we call is a superstition, as this folktale proves that holy men do lie sometimes. Now saying that kind of statement that holy people are liars is not acceptable, but we have to see it in the context that this is a situation where the wise man knows that he is facing a fool. So how do you placate a fool? How do you handle a fool? How do you make them understand the situation? Sometimes it's impossible, like in this situation, because the king is adamant. He wants somebody to die. So ultimately, after the full circle, he has decided that it will be the disciple who has nothing to do with the original crime or situation or case. So how do you make a person like that understand? Sometimes you have to lie to them. And how do you decide which lie is going to be helpful or beneficial? Lying is always a negative thing. It's a bad thing. For that you need wisdom. So this is what the Guru has. Only the Guru has that. He has wisdom. So that's why he tells a lie, and the king naturally assumes that okay, he is a holy man, he is a sannyasi. I don't think he is going to tell lies. And his minister also being like the king himself, the minister also thinks or tells or assumes that yes, we are not going to think of the Guru as a liar. So we are going to stop this video at this point. Little bit of this chapter is still left. We'll do it in the next part along with the discussion for the question and answers, right? So yeah, we'll stop here, and the words that I have underlined, I have made you underline. Please find out the word meanings, and we'll also discuss them later in the interactive classes. So see you then in the next video.